They're passing through town. This is on the far stage right, I guess, Kristopher Knowles. I'm going to read you a little bit off this poster here, just by way of introduction for Chris. The walking miracle. It's not the normal request you'd expect from a 14-year-old boy, but Kristopher isn't like your average child. He's been in desperate need of a liver transplant almost since birth. He has undergone 20 operations, is on the top of the list for potential recipients in Canada, and he's now taking on the enormous task to try and raise awareness of both his plight and others like him. He's embarking on a cross-country journey to make sure that everybody gets the message. I'm doing this to save 4,000 Canadians. 4,000 men and women are on the waiting list for organ transplants. To tell everybody to sign their organ donor cards so that people like me and the 4,000 Canadians can live. That's what Kristopher's saying. Beginning January 8th this past year, the courageous young man left his hometown of Sarnia, walking westward to BC, and then he'll start at the eastern leg of his tour in St. John's, Newfoundland, and he's hoping to wind up in Toronto for Christmas. And if the life-saving organ becomes available, his brother will take up the trek. Chris is joined here by George Marcello, who will speak later, who is a liver transplant recipient. His dad up working the camera back there, Kelly, and Merle working the other camera, who's a videographer that's doing the documentary to make a film of this. So y'all are going to be famous after this. So I've got the student body. And before he gets away, though, I'd like him and George to come up, and you may have some questions. You may want to say a few words. You come up too, Kristopher. You're the main man here. Let me say thanks so much for bringing it to this community, bringing it to this town. There are people here, I know Dale Connor's here, who's a liver transplant recipient. George, this really is miracle work we're talking about here. It really does work. It has a profound effect on a lot of people. And Chris, you must have something you want to say. I mean, the guy's after meeting all these prime ministers, premiers, not to mention the nice looking women that he was with. You want to say a few words?
I want to thank everybody for gathering here at such a short time. I really want to thank your principal, Bert Lewis, for putting this together as well. Got the message from your friend Brian Young. Said, make sure you get a hold of Bert. Make sure you get and we did. And the thing that motivates Kristopher the most is when he meets people like yourselves that have made that incredible gift, and that's what keeps him going. I also want to thank the Sky Hotel for helping out with accommodation, along with Smitty's and Fleur de Lis restaurants. Beautiful food there. And Kenzo Ford, they're helping us out with our vehicle. As your principal mentioned, we're hoping to get as many. Yeah, no?
And Dorothy and everybody in the kitchen for lunch.
Oh, okay, there you go. It's even your school. And as your principal was saying, we're trying to gather as many students to walk with Chris for 12:30 to Sarah. So I don't know if you can let anybody off up here. Look, we got a police escort, the radio truck's coming out and everything, and Chris needs the company as well. And so if we have any questions, we've got about 5 minutes, and Chris will answer some questions. Any questions at all?
How many hours a day do you actually walk?
Depends how the weather is and how I feel. We walk about like an hour a day, and about 1 to 10 kilometers a day. So I'm not really walking the whole thing because of my problem. So they said I'll walk more kilometers than walking in a straight line, and I've walked about 2,500 kilometers so far.
That's got the beeper, and it's called the Lifesaver because we carry that with us throughout everywhere. And we're praying, and he's been waiting 13 years for that thing to go, 14 years. He's gone through 3 generations of beepers so far, and we're praying every day that goes off. That's why we won't allow him to walk on the highway. We don't want to take the chance of not getting to the airport in time. So But as he mentioned, he's walked, by the time he's finished this, he will have walked across Canada. So it's called the walking tour, though. Back
You
there?
guys almost at the end of your journey now, or is it just begun? I guess it's just begun.
We are actually at the end of our journey. We started in Surrey, Ontario on January 8th, and we walked from there to Vancouver, BC. We finished June 18th of that leg. Then I came home, and then we drove out to North Sydney, and then took the ferry to Port Bass, and then drove to St. John's, Newfoundland. And just about 4 days ago, we finished the Newfoundland Island, and now we're here, and we'll be back and finish in Toronto on December 17th.
Do you want to see his stomach? He's gone through 20 operations. He does this all the time. He likes doing it. Show me his stomach. He's an incredible kid. You know, he's just incredible. Also today, we've had some tragic news, which I'm very sad to tell everybody. One of Kristopher's dad, Kelly, his best friend, died in a tragic motorcycle accident back in his hometown, Sarnia. So today we're doing this in memory of Mr. Foster, and you know, we're going to get him on a plane for Kelly to attend the funeral. These things happen. Is there any other questions?
You guys have donation spots set up or anything like that?
We do got a toll-free number, 1-866-992-3645. I left some posters. And we have flags for sale, $10. If anybody needs them now, I can run out in the car and get them. I'll probably bring back some before we leave, if anybody's interested. Beautiful flags. You put them on your car, and they're really beautiful. Yeah.
I just want to say, I have a brother that passed away and never got one transplant, so I'm sensitive to your journey now. But I know the Lord will be good and bless you because it is a blessing when people look out and then know how to look out for the family. And I think it's awesome. Congrats that you're here to listen to the message that Kristopher has to give. It's a very important one, so hopefully today when we leave, we might go to Kristopher and change.
Thank you so much.
Well, again, thanks to the Human Services Continuing Care class. I sent the message out early this morning, and they must have distributed them, because some of you say you may have heard me on the PA system trying to work it. I'm the principal. I can't work PA systems. Some people heard it, some didn't. Then I tried repeating it. Someone said, "Get away from that machine." So, hopefully the technology will work better for Kristopher than I've been able to play with it. But a very moving message here today, and very caring and special that you all came out to be a part of it. So again, thanks so much, and we'll get Kristopher off there.
We're here for a very special occasion this afternoon, and I'm going to say a few words, and we're now going to MC the men. I'm sure we'll take the remainder of the fourth period. We'll see how it goes, but we have a special young man here today who is walking across Canada for a very important cause, organ donation. Interestingly enough, by communicating by telephone with his manager, George Cello, George was actually here a year or two ago and was walking and promoting the same organ donation promotion. George is with Chris and is passing the torch, as he says it, and that is what Chris is carrying, to see that this program continues to go on, that the education of organ donation continues to go on across Canada, and for young people like you, hopefully to be knowledgeable, be willing to participate in organ donation, and God forbid if something happens, perhaps some good will come out of it. To be knowledgeable, participate in organ donation, and God forbid if something happens, perhaps some good can come out of it. It's something that has saved a lot of lives, and in Chris's case, Chris is on the liver transplant list as we speak. He's waiting for a liver transplant. Chris is 13 years of age, and basically has fought many serious operations, life-saving operations through his days. He has a disease which is called Biliary Atresia, I think it's pronounced. Hopefully that's close. Which is one that controls the bile in his liver, or extracts the bile from his liver, which is produced in the body. His liver is not extracting the bile the way yours and mine does. And for that reason, he's had serious complications, and again, he's waiting for a liver transplant. We do have some guests with us this afternoon who will say a few words of welcome. On behalf of our students, Chris, and our staff, you're very, very welcome here. I'm sure it will be an informative afternoon. We wish you all the best. We do wish you good health. Hopefully your wait will not be that long. But most importantly, that your journey educates and communicates to our youth and our community the importance of organ donation. So at this time, I'd like to pass the microphone over to Mr. McDonald, who will MC the event and carry us through the next half hour or so. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, Chris and guests. The Honorable Billy Joe McLean may have a conflict in schedule. He's not here yet. If he comes later, I'll introduce him to make a few words of welcome. But at this time, I'd like to call upon Mr. Bert Lewis, the principal of the Nova Scotia Community College Strait Campus, to say a few words. Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Alan. Here wearing a couple of hats in a couple of different capacities. I guess one is the principal of the community college. It's always nice to come in this area again. And we are a group of our students and staff accompanied Chris from the college, where he met with the presentation over an hour ago. So we're glad to walk up that hill. And that hill is getting longer and taller, I think, for my old legs. The other capacity I'm here is the president of the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce. It's great to welcome Chris and the group here to Port Hawkesbury, and I'm sure that the mayor will be here later on, and he gets the schedule cleared up, and we'll give you a formal greeting. But on behalf of the business community in particular, we want to say welcome. But the main reason that I'm here is as a parent, and I belong to my family. We call ourselves organ donation promoters, and we are donor family. And so what's meant by donor family? Well, our eldest son Derek was killed in an accident 9 years ago, and as a result of that tragedy, which affected us so deeply, 7 people, and this is the bright side, but 7 people through the miracle of organ and tissue donation were able to carry on fuller, longer lives. So I've seen it work. It does work. I've met transplant recipients, and I know George that is here today with Chris. He's a liver recipient. And that's the magic, that's the miracle. And it really is that simple. Sign the donor card, and if heaven forbid that something should happen, well, something good could possibly come out of it. So I would encourage everyone to talk about it at home with your family. Maybe tonight at the supper table you can engage your parents, or maybe you can click the TV off and have a little conversation on that topic. And you may help someone out, such as Chris who's here with us today. Again, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. It's always good to put a reality to the real situation that people face tragically, and then to look at the good side of it. We're going to have a video presentation next, and we just experienced a little technical difficulty, so I'm going to take this microphone over and put it under by the ghetto blaster there, which should be enough to carry the sound. I'm fortunate enough to still be alive. I've been years in and out of the hospital most of my life. I've had over 20 operations that saved my life. Doing this work to bring awareness to the shortage of organ and tissue needed. That's why I thought to myself that there is a way to save people's lives. But how save a lot of our lives, it makes it all worthwhile. That's where I got the criteria. You see, the problem is when me, but to see him. No, we need the ones on back. I'll get them. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Knowles.
Christopher is going to answer a few questions, but before we do that, I want to, as we're going from community to community, we're traveling with hardly no funds, and we're really dependent on the community to come out and support us at each stop, and one of our biggest supporters have been hotels. Last night we had a really comfortable stay at the Sky Hotel, and I just wanted to, forgive me, I don't remember if you're the general manager or the owner, but Walter, if you could please stand up. Thank you. And also with that, we'd like to thank Smitty's, Fleur de Lis, and also the cafeteria at the community college for helping out with meals. Also, Cancel Ford is helping out with our vehicle. We're experiencing some problems, and they're contributing some repair work there. This is the type of support that's keeping us moving from community to community. And also, we have some flags here. You can put them on your cars. They're $10 a piece. They'll be available here. If you don't have $10 and you want to donate a loony or toonie, I'm going to have the bucket over here if anybody wanted to help out with donations. Also, I'd like to thank the lady. I don't know where she is, but she came. Huh?
Eleanor Burgess.
Eleanor Burgess. For, I don't know how far you came, Eleanor, but I know you came a long ways to catch up with Christopher. And she came to donate this beautiful sweater to Kristopher. Thank you, Eleanor. And I also want to thank the community college. I want to thank Mr. McDonald for emceeing, Mr. Berry for organizing it. We're hoping the mayor to get here, but he's got a heavy schedule, we know. Well, at the radio, the Hawk. For coming out, and with that, there's usually one really courageous student that puts their hands up first when we say, is there any questions? And there's always, every school that we've went to, there's always that one student that just puts up their hand right away. You know,
over here, George.
Oh, there we are, sorry.
Where are you from?
Sorry?
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
I'm from Sarnia, Ontario.
Next question?
Right straight ahead.
How far did you walk so fast?
Well, I started on January 8th in my hometown, Sarnia. You've seen a part of the video of it. And I walked from there to Vancouver, BC, and finished our western leg on June 18th. Then we drove to St. John's, Newfoundland, and began our eastern leg, and we finished Newfoundland about 4 days ago, and we're here today.
George.
I've had over 20 operations.
Show me your belly. Straight up, George.
George, can answer that one.
I'll tell you the truth. We've been surviving on students' lunch money, day by day, just to pay all the overwhelming expenses. So it's not about money. Our focus is for Kristopher to inspire every person, especially students. He's got a mission trying to lead a revolution right across the country. He's visited 150 schools so far, and he's got an email. He's getting thousands of email correspondence. It's the students that are going to make the difference. So it's about awareness. It's about it's a dream, getting Canada from the bottom to the top, and we can do it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get Canada to have the highest organ donation rates in the world. Next question?
Yep. What was your favorite place to walk through?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't really have a favorite. I've never thought of walking across Canada in my life until I met George about 4.5 years ago. And Canada is beautiful. It's big, very big, but it's beautiful. Gateway's been very nice though.
For his liver transplant?
No, my dad.
It's on the table. Straight in front of you. On the table.
Kristopher has been carrying this for the past 3 generations of speakers, the past 14 years. Every day, we're hoping and praying that it goes off. He's been waiting 14 years. He should be dead right now. In all reality, people with this disease do not survive past 2 years old. 20 operations he's undergone has kept him alive, but he's got an incredible will to survive. He will not let the disease win. And that's why he's marching on across the country to give everybody that message. Next question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions from the staff?
Well, it depends how the weather is and how I feel. About 1 to 10 kilometers a day. They won't let me walk on the highway because of my condition. I would have, but they wouldn't let me. And I've walked so far about 2,500 kilometers, and they said that I'd walk more than walking in a straight line. So that's what it is.
How old were you when you had your first operation?
4 days. 4 days.
4 days old. 4 days old.
Yep.
Where did you go to school?
Well, for grade 8, I didn't do anything. Well, I did a journal, and for grade 9, I have to do a scrapbook, I guess. I just got the email yesterday. So I've been off for 3 weeks, and I have to do a scrapbook. That's it.
When was the last operation?
2 years ago, was it on Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween.
It was on Halloween. longest I've spent in the hospital was
4 months. 4 months. 4 months.
4 months.
That one time.
Well, actually, you can meet my team now. That's George, my road manager. That's my dad, and he's driver of the motorhome. And Merle, I don't know where he is, but he's our film director and driver of the van.
How was your walk?
Actually, no, the doctor said I'm better here than at home fighting with my brother or playing sports. So, 16.
Did you see him walk up that hill today?
You can visit Kristopher on his website as well. Go on the website. He loves receiving emails. So does his brother Robert.
Up there. Back.
And
Right in front, George. 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 Down the front. Yeah.
they said it wouldn't really happen on my walk because Daddy said a lot that's sick that see the liver right now, and there's people in the hospital waiting for a liver right now, so I won't get it. But when I'm near Ontario, or that happens, if it does happen, the beep will go off, and then I'll have to get an ambulance helicopter to fly me to London, Ontario, and then the surgery will go on there.
How long will you be in the hospital then?
I'll probably be in the hospital for at least like a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks, and then I'll recover for another month or so, a couple months.
I just wanted to clarify that. About 5 months ago, his doctor came out and met him at a press conference and announced, in St. Thomas, Ontario, and announced that Kristopher was at the top of the waiting list. And they were very optimistic that Kristopher was going to receive his transplant within a few weeks. He's been told that story about 5 or 6 times already, if not more. And the reason why he keeps going to the bottom of the list is because we have a big shortage of organs, and they need to tend to the sickest. They go to the front of the, and there's only rare opportunities that no one's sick at that time, and Kristopher goes to the front. This is all because of a shortage, and if we did get this program right across the country, there wouldn't be a shortage, and everybody on the waiting list would be receiving an organ. And that's our mission, basically.
Yep. Okay. What's the first thing you want to do after you complete your liver transplant? Yeah, something you want to go out and do that you couldn't do?
Well, the first thing I want to do is start back up in hockey.
Yeah.
George, a question for you. Can you tell us when you had your liver transplant, how it's been since, how you doing? Just so we know. You're a recipient, just so we know that you're alive and well.
Okay. Yeah, basically, I'm a fitness promoter, and I was going for my bi-yearly checkup. In '92, I found out that I had terminal liver disease just out of the blue. And they told me I only had a couple of years left unless I got liver transplant. Then I got welcomed to the world of organ transplants. Found out that Canada had the lowest rate. Things looked really grim. I was finally put on the waiting list in '94, and I only had a few months left to live. And it really came down to a wire. In '95, I had like 2 days left to live, and just by a miracle, an organ became available. My life was saved. And on that day, there was 5 other lives that were saved. So there were 6 of us that were saved from one decision. I was out of the hospital in a couple of weeks. I was back in the gym training, and I haven't looked back since. It's been 10 years now. And I went back like I'd never felt better in my life. Except I might have lost my mind. It's been great, and we have a cure in our hands. I'm not the only case like this. 99% of other recipients share the same healthy, active life as a result of receiving transplants. We have a cure. It's within our grasp. That's why we're marching again across Canada, and that's why we need the students to really get involved in this issue.
How did you become an organ donor?
In the province of Nova Scotia, we presently have the driver's license. So when you go get your driver's license, they give you a card there to register, and you show your wishes on the card. What we're trying to do, as we're doing in every province, is expand that. We're trying to make organ cards available in all shapes, forms, and sizes, from having them available at all visible stores and health cards and schools. This is where the schools can take a really big initiative with the school boards to have them available at the schools. And we're also trying to improve the system as well. Basically, part of the problem why we have a shortage is under our present system, which we're calling the pre-storage system, the family has to make the final consent before the organs become available. The problem with that is that when the family hears that they just lost somebody, they're in a very tragic state, and it takes very exceptional people to get that clarity to say yes when they're approached. Most families cannot, and they cannot say yes at that moment. Many organs are lost as a result of that. So what we're trying to do is improve that system, not put the burden just on the family, make sure that the individual's wish gets acknowledged. Other countries that improve the system are showing very high rates, and we're hoping that, Nova Scotia can do the same. Nova Scotia can take the lead. That's why we're hoping to meet Premier Ham in Halifax, so Christopher can meet him and share his wish to him. And who knows, maybe Nova Scotia could be one of the first provinces.
Going to finish the walk if he has his operation? What's going to happen when you have your operation on the walk?
If it did happen on the walk, my brother would be out here finishing it, and if I get better and be able to walk, I'll go up and finish it together with my brother.
Good questions. Love these questions. Well, first of all, Spain, 12 years ago, developed a system called presumed consent. Now, before they did that, the king, the president, all the government of Spain realized how important this issue was. And they did a massive awareness campaign and got consensus from all the Spaniards there. Developed a system where everybody was already registered as organ donors in their system, their data bank. And those that didn't want to be on this registry could take their names off. As a result of putting that system forward, they rose to the top in organ donations. They still have the highest rate in the whole world. In their country, there's hardly anyone that passes away that's on the waiting list. Since then, there have been close to a dozen other countries that have developed the same system. So we're not inventing the wheel here. You know, there's a system that proves that it works, and I know if Canada developed a similar system, Canada can rise to the top, and that's what we're aiming for.
Here, George. George.
One more?
Go over here.
Couple more.
Right in front, down.
Yep.
Yep.
We are going to.
Andy Ganesh.
What?
Andy Ganesh.
Ain't gonna know that. Annie Ganesh. And Glasgow. And then Halifax. And then what? Yarmouth. And then Yarmouth. Okay. Next. So on and so forth.
Last question.
Way up top, back.
Back? Yeah.
Why do you think our country is so reluctant, or are they, to go ahead with these things today? I'm just wondering if that not have a great effect on the ability of the medical system to be able to give all these transplants? Is that not an issue?
Great question. I love that woman. That is such an important question. Now, right now, the question that she asked was, why hasn't Canada as a country started acting on this if it's so successful in other countries? Like, what are the barriers? What's stopping from this happening? Okay, I'll tell you what's stopping from happening, or why this hasn't caught on yet. Apparently, there needs to be enough voices right across Canada to let our federal government, as well as provincial governments, to let them know that this is a very, very important issue, that there's 4,000 Canadians that are at stake, whose lives can be saved, and they have to realize that they have to give it that kind of attention, and then start the ball rolling on making the changes. Once we get to that point where we can get their attention and let them take the steps in putting together a private members bill, get the support, and all that process, then we can start the ball rolling in making this issue that important. The barriers right now is that we don't have a mindset throughout the country about organ and tissue donation. We need to popularize it, and we need to do it in local communities. That's where it all starts. From local communities, it starts going through the province and then right across the country. So that's why we're trying to do our local communities. It starts going through the province and then right across the country. So that's why we're trying to do our part by planting seeds right across the country, and hopefully we can make this issue the #1 issue, and we gotta let Canadians know, the Canadian government, what could be more important right now than 4,000 people whose lives could be saved if we start doing something about it. I don't know anything else that's more important than that. So that's okay. Well, thank you very much.
we're going to go back to